everybody. Welcome to Tauke Talks. My name is Zahra, and Tauke Talks is a series of sharing sessions where we will invite local Taukes to share about their experiences in different topics surrounding entrepreneurship in Malaysia. This sharing session is brought to you by RYSE. We are a Malaysian research and social outreach program that empowers youth through entrepreneurship and employability programs. RYSE is also supported by Citi Foundation. So this year, we aim to highlight stories of Taukes addressing different issues or topics, starting and sustaining their businesses. We hope that these sharing sessions will encourage the fellow budding entrepreneurs to continue persevering in their dreams of building a business in Malaysia. So without further ado, I am happy to welcome our guests for today, Michelle and Sharon from Craders Hub and Erica from Ace Edventure Studios. Welcome to Tauke Talks. We are honored to have you all here today.
Hello, hi. Thanks, Zara. So thanks so much to Tauke Talk for inviting me and Michelle. We are partners of Craders Hub to come over to have I wouldn't say it's an advice session. It's more like a sharing session with everyone, right? So do let us know your thoughts also as well. So basically, I think we'll go very quickly into our introduction. So I think probably all of you who probably have came across Craders Hub or probably met our face before, because me and Michelle, right, we are apart from Craders Hub, we also have another women empowerment program called Baby Tai Tai. So basically, that's where probably all along we are also doing a little bit of coaching and also sharing session across. But just personal introduction. So before Craders Hub actually happened, I was in advertising as a copywriter for I think about 8 years, and then after that I jumped into this because we always thought that we are in advertising, right? And say, okay, I think client side could be interesting too. Why don't we go over there as well? So I jumped into more towards hair care manufacturing company, and then they work very closely to produce products for Amway that time. So there I was a brand manager at the time, and then after a series of funny events, that's where I got to meet Michelle, who actually came in to assist me in project execution and stuff like that as well. So I think Michelle can also say hi to all our participants here as well.
Hello everyone, I'm Michelle. So yeah, that is where I met Sharon, and then that's how Craders Hub also founded out of nowhere. It's just a leap of faith, and then we're like, okay, let's have a company and stuff like that. Yeah.
So basically, I think learning from actually from advertising and so from Michelle, coming from the field of psychology. She actually graduated from psychology, and I think she's a heavy pursuer of human psychology and consumer initiatives as well. So that's why we actually merged together a lot of our other assistance from partners as well in design, copywriting, concept, strategy, digital strategy. So after what we call the hair care days, we were there for about 1 year plus. Then we came out about end of 2016 to 2017, where we came out with our company. And then we were really small at the time. We had our first few clients who really helped us through the days. And then after that, we had slightly more retainer clients. For example, we're talking about Surai Group, which is one of our key retainer from there on until now. And they're growing very big, like GB by the Park, and many others as well. And then we have many to healthcare and also F&B clients as well. So I think the reason of us having this Craders Hub, right? We call ourselves the dream makers, the dream hunters, the dream chasers. So initially, why we created this entire company, because we were all like cannot be torn apart when we left the manufacturing company. We wanted to keep our people together. So we do not know what to do. So just make out an advertising company, but not that kind of crazy by default advertising where you don't sleep, you wake up at 2 a.m. just to do some work. For us, our work-life balance, that's per se, right? We work from 10 a.m. up to 7 p.m. and then we will shoo everyone to go home. No such thing called OT. But of course, with your own social media hours, right, you have your own little liabilities and so responsibility also. So that's where you do your posting, publishing and all. So I think very much of our team are guided heavily by Michelle. Okay, so basically she's the one who takes care of our little dreamers. Okay, where I think we're able to share more about how we do on the hiring side in some of our questions later as well. Okay.
Thank you for sharing, Sharon. Now, Erica, would you like to introduce yourself and your business?
Sure. Hi guys. I'm Erica, and I am the director of Studio E, but I'm also a director of 3 schools, but not the schools that you think of. My job is basically I help kids escape the struggle and angst and difficulty of studying because like it didn't make sense to me when I was growing up. It doesn't make sense to me now anyway to memorize for no reason. So yeah, and we started our schools basically to help kids to basically, change the way education's being done, make it more relevant, make it fun, make it meaningful. And now I run the innovation arm of the company where I create games, comics, and now study notes for those of you taking O levels. That basically take away the dreadfulness of studying for all of you.
All right, thank you for sharing. So now we will move on to our first question. So as an employer, what do you look for in an employee? So Michelle, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. So basically, first thing first, I think now we live in this age, not too sure about other companies, maybe in a more professional industry, probably you guys will look for, your degree girl or your masters and whatnot. But actually in Craders, we don't actually really mind about your educational level, because I think first thing first, we want to see people with experience. And even if you don't have any experience, right? But we do see through like the things that you have done. And I think one thing that we really like is when you volunteer a lot, like you go to the kitchen or the Kachara kitchen, or you volunteer at a pet shelter and stuff like that. So that is something that we really value, because I think if you have the compassion for people, and you will dedicate the same thing to your work as well. So first thing first, that's something that we look for. And then we also look for someone who is not so petty, and you kind of get it from the way that they introduce themselves, they talk about themselves and whatnot. Yeah, because a lot of times we have met people, that they say, oh, you're hiring me for this role, okay, then that's it. Then if anything happens to my other team members, then I'm just gonna let you die or something like that. So we don't want that kind of situation happen in our company. So in our company, we prefer people who value teamwork a lot. Yeah. So we're looking for someone who is not petty, who take initiative and stuff like that. So that is the number one thing we look through. Yeah. So resume, we see, okay, it's just probably your first filter. You can talk about your I don't know, your past experiences and stuff like that. But I think ultimately, when the way you present yourself as someone who is very confident and someone who has the heart, I think most importantly. Yeah. So that is something that we look for in our company.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. What about you, Erica?
I think we're on a similar wavelength as well, because we don't really mind about education background. In fact, like when we hire our teachers as well, our teachers are not from an education background, because we want them from the industries so that it's relevant. Even my own team as well, definitely. I think for us, the word I would use is that we look for whether they're a culture fit or not. Yeah. So usually if things don't work out with the company, there's nothing wrong with you. It just may mean that your values is very different from the company's values. And that usually is what causes a lot of the clashes that happen between like the leaders and, and the team. So this is, so this is something that I think we're very particular about as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting to hear. So let's move on to our next question. Sharon, how has the overall experience been like for hiring people?
So far, I would say that, okay, we have been in the business for 5 years plus, 6 years actually this year. Wow, how time flies, Michelle and everyone, because we are like, that time we are like on our 20s, and now we're like, I'm in my 30s, early 30s right now. So basically, I would say that not just to say that we are what we call the millennials, right? The Gen Y, the millennials, or probably your guys, zillennials, okay? The old millennials that we mentioned. I feel that there's a lot of interesting expectation or interesting discovery we had during our hiring days, and even up to this minute, this second as well. So I would say that it's very unpredictable. We cannot say that, okay, every time you hire someone, you feel that, okay, they're going to be with you for 1 year, 3 months, 6 months. You don't have a duration for them. But I feel that there are a lot of people along the way that me and Michelle have personally met. We had our first batch of designers. Okay, we're talking about designers, copywriters. They stay through with us for as long as when our company was created, and that's amazing. So even those people who probably have their own business, they are still helping us out. You know, that kind of thing. So I would say that we have our good days. We also have people who came for a span of maybe 2 weeks, could spend of 2 months. After they pass the probation, and then you got confirmed, they're happy with so-called of the confirmation, and then suddenly out of nowhere they just turn on the notice, you know, that kind of thing. So you have all these people with what we call a different twist of events coming to you. Sometimes initially me and Michelle, we always are disappointed because we put all our heart. You know, I believe Erica, everyone also have that kind of thing, or put a lot of effort into nurturing them, making them a better person, because we know that how hard is this world out there. So we're trying to use more Western approach with never scope, and then use a more, we talk to adults, even though you're 23 or 22 years old. You know, we have a lot of interns and stuff like that too, right? So after a while, they grow up in one way or another, and then realize that it is suddenly just say that they need to resign or they have to go. You know, that kind of thing. So, but does not mean that you should stop. The growth doesn't stop, because we feel that everywhere, like Craders Hub is just a platform for you to be who you are, like achieving the better version of you. And then after that, when they leave, maybe at a while you feel like a bit disheartened, you starting at time, you feel a bit like sad, like, okay, well, all my knowledge that I passed to you goes away. But after months, and also I would say tough experiences happening to us as a manager and also a director as well, right? I feel that every time you think that someone is living, they are actually living to a better pasture, you know, that kind of thing. So we always wish them well. And then with this series of interesting events that we met, I think we hired, for example, you're talking brand servicing executive, we got about maybe more than 10% that we had who came and left also. You know, I think even interns also about 8 to 10 people that we had before. So from there onwards, right, I feel that there are people who stay, there are people who left, but I think that we are all good in terms of this hiring process, and we continue to have these good hopes in hiring better and more quality people. It also train our mindset, saying that what kind of a more specific detail or characters that you're looking for. Is it just pretty IQ, or is it your emotional intelligence is equally important in terms of the things that you do in life as well? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So how about for you, Erica?
I think it's been a learning experience, because we come from like I grew up with helping my mom in her business, because we started as a tuition center. So
Yes.
so it has been a learning thing, because I think we are we're very close to our people. So when they have to leave, it's like Sharon said, it's very heartbreaking. Yeah. Oh, and also fun fact, Sharon and Michelle, the GB owners, they sent their kids to our school.
Yes, the three of us.
Najib, Mr. Najib, Kisana, they all, is it? The GB family?
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
the external family and all that. I was just like, wow. So
Nice.
very small, like yeah. Very
It's
small.
good.
Yeah.
And we should meet up soon, because we also been with them for years, and they treat us like family, and it's very
They're
interesting.
very nice people. Yeah, they are very nice people. So
Yeah.
So I guess it's like what Sharon says, heartbreaking. But I think the biggest thing that we take away, I'm gonna take it one step further, is that I think people will always come and go, and to mitigate that, I guess it's gonna sound very, very harsh, but it's true, to mitigate that, because if you own the business, what I learned from my mentor is that if you own the business, right, at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be left. People will come and go. So you kind of need to lay out systems and set procedures in place, so that if someone does leave, someone else can, slip right in, and, like everything goes on as per normal. So I think that was like the biggest learning thing for us as well. Like, how do you keep it so seamless that if someone is absent from the company, things can still go on? Yeah, so it's very dangerous if you have like, oh, Michelle, you're the only person right now who can do this. Because if Michelle goes or Sharon goes, that's it.
It's very dangerous. But as a startup also, it's very tough also. You can teach everything, but at the same time, if they decided to leave all straight away or spontaneous, like a season kind of thing and so on. And then after that, it's like, oh my God. Me and Michelle always panic. I tell you, even so many years in the business, right? We still have a panic attack, although we keep cool. Last time we show face, got our face kanchong. But now it's like, oh, okay. Inside the heart beating, who's taking care of this account? Who's going to take care of that account? But I think, like what Erica said, I think it's also, I think as an employer, it's also the mindset change that we also need to grow further and then take a step ahead as well. Yeah.
Yes. So for the next question, what do you think the biggest mismatch expectations you have received from an applicant? Michelle, would you like to go?
All right. So
Yes.
I think one of it that we remember, Sharon, actually, I think we felt that it was the poison of the most poison.
It's the worst. Erica wants to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, basically, this girl, actually she was recommended by our mutual friend. So she's actually our friend's sister, and then she said that my sister want to quit agency life. She want to try to be a brand manager and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe she can take on the challenge, because for you to jump from an agency to become a brand manager is a totally different role. Yeah. So becoming a brand manager is where you're gonna, handle more people. You have to manage people's emotions, clients' emotions, a lot of emotions happening. Yeah. So basically this girl, she said that, I one person, I pakaliao one in my previous agency, I handled who big clients, like really big clients. And coming from agency background, we know that, okay, if you can handle this kind of clients, that means you are someone quite powerful lah. Like you can handle the stress level, you can handle basically everything. Your idea must be on point and stuff like that. So we're like, okay, we just give you a chance. And then we actually told her that maybe you can come in for 3 months first, just try it out. And then like what I think Erica said, that sometimes people don't fit into that culture.
Yep.
So yes, she took our culture for granted. Because I think like what Sharon mentioned, that we are quite like flexible and stuff like that, in the sense that it's your own expectation, it's your own time management and stuff like that. So she came in, and then we realized that clients started to find me and Sharon like, where is this posting? It was supposed to schedule today. Then we were like, okay, then we couldn't find that girl, right, Sharon? Then we couldn't find that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all basically the whole company was just having panic attack, because this client, this client is actually one of our retainer. Like they have been with us for about 5 years. So can you imagine the level of the craziness? And then she started having like posting. She just posts it on her own, and this is not on your own platform. This is on brand's platform. So if you were like, wait, you're from agency. How is it that you do not know you need to get approval from client before posting anything? So I think something is wrong somewhere. So after that, she started that. Okay, so that time she only has two clients, I think, right, Sharon? Two clients, and she started me and Sharon, who are the bosses, right? I think I have enough. I have this very intense stress level. I think I'm having panic attack. I'm not too sure. We're not too sure. And then she came and told us like, we need to divide and conquer together. So I was like, okay, then I hire you for what if we need to divide and conquer? Like it doesn't make sense. So, and then I think that was our biggest lesson ever, to never trust resume. So from there on, we were like, okay, resume is just a piece of paper, and then we just gonna stay neutral. So I think the one thing that Sharon and I, we always get very excited about new people. We will be like, oh, the first month they're very nice. But it feels like they can blend in with us. It feels like they're very hardworking. And then once you convert them into full time, then that's where things happen. So we learned that for one fact is that never get too excited when you hire someone new. Okay, let it be for 1 year. So let it be for 1 year, and then see if they change. Take it like a relationship. It's actually like a relationship. Like you have the probation period, and after that you'll see stuff like that. Yeah. So that is something that we really learned. Never to trust your resume. Never get too excited, because I think that is our style lah. We get excited too easily, and then we felt that, oh, okay, I think you have done really quite a lot of stuff for the past few months, and then we will be like, let us have like a staycation. So during even the MCO time, we brought them to like Malacca, to like Penang and stuff like that. Yeah, and then only then 1 week later, they're like, oh, I'm going to resign now, because the other company offered me like maybe 200 ringgit more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they will say, but you forget to say the staff, right? I mean, our staff, we actually really properly treat our if people around us who know Craders Hub or Michelle and Sharon, right, all of them, they want to come and work for us. When they say your company is so cool, so relaxed, even your office is like so beautiful, and then you don't need to go work OT. All of them want to work. Okay, they come in and work already. Then after that, they will start to be like unfocused in that say. So I feel that what we also need to learn as an employer or in the terms of hiring, right? Again, first, don't get too excited too fast. Let the learning and trust experience go stronger and longer and proven by time. And then the different thing is like also, I think I forgot to keep what a note, and Erica mentioned, don't if it's just only Michelle and Sharon, and suddenly Sharon goes sick or go for holiday, and then there's no more someone who can take care of the account. So I think very important note to let people know, right, in terms of hiring and being an employee yourself as well, right? Even those people who are, let's say ABCD, we're talking about grades, even they are a B- or a C+, but they have fairly okay resume, they have very fair experience in the field. You can take them in, maybe some slow training with them, right? They can actually rise to A. You never know. Because if you come in with a bombastic resume and then you know that you cannot cater to them, even you give them a low salary, we pay them well, we pay them quite well. And then they still will disappoint you anyway. So I think always keep what we call, there's always plan B, always keep some extra resources, because the work has to go. Erica said, if not, right? Like what you say, right? If not, who can handle our work as well? Right. So basically, I think we need to have resources. And at the same time, one also very good lesson is that we need to treat this staff or our people that we met around something like our partners, not to be too micromanaging them, because nowadays the zillennials and millennials don't like to micromanage. I think us ourselves, we don't like to be micromanaged too when we are younger or when we are working for people at time, So we want respect and also recognition in the things that we do as well. So I think these are also our key lessons as managers in the
Sharon,
hiring recruitment process of people.
Sharon, sorry, I think you're lagging
Can you
a
hear me?
bit. You're lagging a bit, but thank you for
okay.
But thank you for your interesting stories
I finished my talk already.
Thank you for your interesting stories and also that tip about resumes before you're hiring people. So before we move on to Erica's insight, unfortunately for tonight, Michelle and Sharon will need to leave early today. But before you leave, I'd just like to thank the both of you for joining us. And I'm sure the audience have gotten pretty good insights and stories about hiring the right people from the both of you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. So sorry. I think we can have another session together with Erica, because Erica's side also has a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah, we want to know more about your education part. Who knows, we're gonna collaborate. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can exchange wisdom.
Everyone, just enjoy the show. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
everyone.
Have fun, everyone.
All right, thank you for being here, Michelle and Sharon.
Okay, thank you. We keep ourselves connected, yeah? And then if there's more questions we can answer, we will help to answer as well. So we can maybe post the stories and stuff like that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We'll share your socials with the audience at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
So back with Erica for the rest of the session. Now I'm really interested to hear about your biggest mismatch expectations you have received from an applicant.
Oh my gosh. I think it was the time we tried to hire a programmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what I didn't know is that that there's certain foundations people need for programming. Yeah, I believe, which I think is kind of lacking a little bit in terms of like I guess like it's very different when you learn from people who've done it in the industry and people who don't. And I know in Silicon Valley, because we have ties with what is it? One of the companies that who does brainwave, Mindwave Mobile. Yeah. So
okay.
So the I was speaking to a CEO, and he was saying how they would never ever hire people with programming degrees, with a computer engineering degree. And I was like, what? Why? You know, it's such a pity, right? Because everyone goes out there, they spend tons of money. And so it's because people who go through the degrees versus people who self-taught. They much prefer the people who self-taught because they would have had to figure out problems on their own. They would have had to learn how to troubleshoot, you know, when things go wrong. Because they have a saying in programming, right, where if it goes wrong, you know, I don't know. I don't know why. But if it goes right, I also don't know why. It's like, as long as it goes right. That's what my programming friends tell me anyway. So that's a saying that they have. So I think it's pretty critical. And I didn't know that, you know, that was pretty like, you know, that was something to look out for as well. And also whether the person was actually like, you know, like what Michelle and Sharon said, you know, people have beautiful resumes. Very beautiful.
Definitely.
But on the job, then you gotta see whether the words kind of match the actions. Yeah, and that's when we found out that, oh, actually, you know, this person just lacked some basics that were very important, especially if you're like programming games, right? You don't want it to be heavy because if the code is heavy and messy, it will crash. Yeah, so, you know, don't get me wrong, the person was a really nice person, you know, just that skill level wise, it wasn't quite what we were looking for. And, you know, we didn't know what to look out for either. We thought like, you know, at the very least, this person could do like the basic stuff, or at least like, you know, the base level stuff. But it's actually this final polish, I think, that sets people apart. So it's such a pity. It's such a pity because, you know, this person spent, I don't know how many thousands of, you know, ringgit taking the course, and, you know, turns out, you know, we, you know, couldn't use him, and, you know, and and it was sad, actually. It's sad. So I guess like my hint to you guys is, you know, make sure that when you go pick a course, make sure that's practical. Really make sure that's not just theory and you're actually learning practical, and also you give yourself a chance to you know, try it out on your own and make mistakes as well, because you learn so much from making those mistakes. And the troubleshooting and the problem solving thinking process that you go through, that's what I guess I would say employers are looking for. Because employers, the reality is that your bosses hire you to solve problems for them, not create problems. So if you're the latter, then it's, you know, unfortunately, you know, people will ask you to go. Unfortunately. Because we need someone who is able to take care of the things that, you know, we don't know how to do either, or, you know.
Okay. So based on that experience with the programmer, and instead of just, you know, putting your knowledge into practice, are there any other deal breakers for you when it comes to hiring people?
Oh, well, I think the most important one you guys need to take note of: no criminal record. No criminal. I mean, for us, it's important because we're an education company. I mean, you could come at me and go like, but, you know, if these people have reformed, you know, why don't give them a chance? Well, for my business, we can't afford it because we deal with kids. We deal with kids, and there's like a double, being in education, there's like I guess like a double expectation of like, there's a very unfair expectation because people expect teachers to be perfect. Like, you know, in America, if they find out that a teacher was once a swimsuit model, parents ask the school to fire her. So there's a double standard. That's the word I was looking for. There's kind of a double standard being in the education business. You know, you're supposed to have like a clean and shiny, like, you know, reputation. So I guess for us, that would be one of the biggest deal breakers. Second for me, it's always attitude. I mean, this is after like you're looking at like the bare basics, like can this person, because you don't want to hire someone to do your accounting when this person doesn't know how to do Excel or use a calculator or, you know, do math. Right? So after that point, after you look at the basic stuff that you absolutely need, like, you know, you cannot, like, if this person doesn't have it, just don't even bother. So that's a deal breaker. So that will be considered a deal breaker as well. Then the next thing for me is actually the attitude. Because because like I guess well, the saying is that 80% of the problems in every business is people problems. so I guess like I place a lot of importance on culture, because like you're gonna fight anyway, on the job, because everyone, if you hire people who are so passionate, they'll have their own perspectives and their own points of view, right? But if like so if you hire somebody who is like, toxic, or we've had people who rumor mongered before, and that caused a lot of problems in a team, because people like felt so scared to come to work, or felt so bad to even come to work. You kind of don't want to have that added layer of heaviness at the job. And people can really destroy something that you've worked so hard to build as well. So you really want to find the right people. So again, it's back, for me, the important thing is like, back to culture fit. It's always about that. Like you don't have to have the exact same values, but you can actually see, when we did the values exercise with our team, there were some who left because they could see that their values didn't match at all. And that's why we kept, clashing heads. Like you don't want people who agree with everything with you, like, yes, Zara, yes, Zara, like, oh yes, anything you want. You don't want that either. For example, if you're like spending more than you should, you don't want your accountant to go like, yeah, everything's okay, boss. You can still spend. I'll be like, okay, do we have money to spend for this project? It's like, yeah, sure. You don't want that either, right? So but what I mean is that people may have different perspectives, but you have to know that their heart is for the company and for you, and they have your back and you have theirs. And having your back sometimes means they will tell you like, no, we can't do this right now. The team is swamped, right? Like my own team took me aside and said, Erica, you have a habit of turning a car into a unicorn.
Oh wow, that's like, pretty interesting comment.
And I'm just like, okay, and I'm just like, all right, guys, I'll pay attention to that. So basically what they meant by that is I have a tendency to take an idea and blow it up so much that it's kind of may not be achievable.
Yes, definitely.
With the resources we have, or like it might take more time. We have the resources, but it'll take a long time. Instead of getting something quick out there as a start. So you want people like that on your team.
All right, thank you for sharing that interesting tip. But let's now focus more about your business, and I would like to ask if you could share how many employees have you hired so far.
To date, our school has 200.
Oh, okay.
My own team, I have, how many of them now? 7 to 8 now. 7 to 8.
Definitely growing.
Yes.
So have you ever given someone a benefit of the doubt, and what has that experience been like for you?
When I saw this question, I was like, because it's such a perfect question to ask. And I would tell you guys, don't ever do it. Don't ever, I mean, yes, sometimes it will work out. But I guess like one of the things you need to ask yourself is, do you have the time to be this person's counselor or this person's coach? If you don't do it. Because one time we I don't know if this is considered giving someone the benefit of the doubt, but one time we hired somebody because we felt that if we didn't, this person wouldn't find a place to fit in outside. Because it was a bit odd, by standards, very smart person. But unfortunately, very harsh with language and things like that. And, with a really bad childhood experience. So when you have that kind of emotional damage, being, he brings that into, this person brought that into the company. Most days. So, it's like a thunderstorms like brewing, above his head every day. And it came to a point where I guess my team didn't know how to deal with him. And it was left to me to do it. And I was like, okay, with my work capacity, there is no way I can keep babysitting this guy and deal with him every time he has like problems. Yeah, it's just not feasible. Like it's just gonna kill me in the end, I think. Yeah. And stress, the stress of it all. So yeah, so you kind of have to be careful of those things. Like, yeah, and people with like mental illness, and I don't speak ill of them at all, because like I understand what it's like. So I also have to think from the perspective of this person in that space, out of compassion, can they actually deal with the kind of work that we will definitely ask them to be responsible for. Yeah, so because it's also not fair if you have a teacher who is depressed, right, suffering from depression or anxiety, and they carry that into class because you can't control it, right, and it scares the kids. So it's not fair to our customers who are the students as well, right? Yeah, if the person also has that, and their kids, they won't know how to deal with someone going through that. Yeah, so you kind of have to weigh that. Yeah, it's not all pretty. Sometimes like when I get interviewed, I'm like thinking, how I wish I was on the other side of the table. But also on the other side of the table, this is the not so pretty stuff as well. Yeah, because benefit of the doubt sometimes as well. The relationship can end up being really ugly after that. Like this person won't talk to us anymore, for sure. Yeah, because it kind of feels like we gave up on him.
Oh, okay.
When really it was just beyond our capacity and capability to handle someone in that space. Yeah.
I think it's also important to highlight that if anyone's watching this dealing with mental illness, please do seek for professional help, even though it's really good to talk to people you do trust. Sometimes if it gets really bad, some people might not be able to know how to advise you better. So it's just really important to look after yourself and seek professional help.
Yeah. So I'm totally gonna second you, Sarah, there, because like I was too proud to seek help. Yeah. So I spiraled. So you guys, so by getting help helped so much. Yeah. Okay. Once I started to admit it. Yeah. So yeah, please do. Just do it.
Yeah. So coming back to the topic about hiring experiences, would you say that your views on hiring has changed after being an employer yourself?
I think I grew up because I've been in the business since I was 9, helping my mother. So and she takes us through this really powerful exercise when we're in her Form 5 program for English, right? Because the way we run things in our school, like I said, we try and make it really relevant. So in English class, we actually do job interviews with our students, right? And she's always said, and there's always a twist to that interview at the end of it, because people think that the person sitting, to get the interviewee, right, or the interviewee, right, is always the one that has to make the good impression. But the twist at the end of that activity is also the fact that you also have to remember that as an employer, right, you represent the company and the culture, right? So people can also choose not to work with you. So that's something I've always like kind of held on to as well. Like how are we as leaders like showing up during those interviews as well? Because also that kind of sets the tone as well. Like it's actually a really good filter, I feel. If you are yourself, or you represent the culture really well, so it gives that person a feel of it. And if you are yourself as well during the interview as well, then it also helps, like the leader or the employer see, whether you really fit or not. Because again, when things don't work out of a company, there's nothing wrong with you per se. It's values again, like maybe something just doesn't fit. Unless you have an attitude problem, then I can't help you.
Always be nice and respectful.
Yes. What I mean by that is like, if you are someone who likes steady pace, right, you don't want to get a job in a company whose values and culture is very fast paced and chaotic, because that would just really stress you out. Yeah, and you're pulling this way, you're trying to go like, no, we need to be more organized, and everyone else is like, no, this job is chaotic. You gotta like, go with the flow on that, right? So that's what I mean by values. Yeah, you kind of got to see that. Yeah.
Yes. So just cautious of time, we'll go with our last question for the sharing session today. And that would be, do you have any tips for employees if they were to apply for your job?
If they were to apply. I would think manners is always a big thing. Yeah, and please be careful how you sit as well, because I think a lot of people are not conscious of that. Yeah, because when you sit with your legs open, sorry, yeah, with your legs like that, it kind of conveys, the body language kind of conveys that you're arrogant. Yeah, but some people are not aware of how they sit and stuff like that. So just I'm not saying, be self-conscious, but just be aware of how you show up. And if you need to practice, and get feedback from people, how you are showing up, with a job. That's why we do job interviews with our kids, with our students, at Form 5, because of that. Yeah, so it's okay to practice. Yeah, just find a friend who's, gonna give you like, real feedback, and and also, they don't mind, if you stutter and look silly and things like that. Yeah, so I would say that would be one of the biggest one. And please do not blow up your resume more than it is. While it's nice to make it flowery, it is also, when it comes down to it, the truth will always be revealed in the end. And I would also say the last thing is that show up well. Yeah, and try and, like normally I hear a lot of people say, oh, I can't find a job because people are looking for people with experience, right? So at your age, try to, oh my god, it's not old. Okay, sorry guys. I should be saying that. But in high school and in college and university, this is the time to go out and try jobs, like offer to work for free somewhere. Yeah, because one of the things I learned very early on from my mom, I worked for free for her because like I felt that I would learn, because I also read Rich Dad Poor Dad very, very young when I was 16, because I couldn't sleep at night. Thinking about like, what am I going to do with my life? So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was just like, oh, okay. So, he talked about how if you get a part-time job with somebody, by rights, you should be paying the employer. So my internship was, I chose not to get paid because I felt that I should be paying my boss for teaching me about the business. Yeah, so that's the mindset you want to get into. If they offer you pay, take it, because you need to cover your traveling costs and all that. Like I was in a position where we're running business on the side, so I could afford to do that. Yeah, but if you have to cover your travel expenses and all that, take it. Yeah, but all I'm just saying is that it's that mindset. You're going in there to learn, and that becomes your experience. Yeah, and that's what people are going to hire you for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So moving on to answering some of your pre-submitted questions. This one that I find really interesting is that what are some good questions to ask during interviews to assess the candidate's EQ?
Oh yeah, this one was a toughie. I was like, well, because I do look out for that. I guess like I came up with 3 things. I think if I can remember all 3, I will mention it. But the first one I would feel is you can ask them like a what if question. Like give a scenario. If maybe a scenario between the boss and them. Say if they had a disagreement, how would they handle it? Or if you're doing something dealing with the customers, you're hiring someone to deal with customers. Then you can also ask a scenario like if a customer storms in and takes out the anger on you, how would you deal with it, right? So a what if question would work. The other thing I personally like doing is to take the person out for lunch. Yeah, and have a casual interview there, because and this one was from IDEO, who is a really top-notch design company. And also enthralled by it because because they do that, they lunch people to also see how this person treats the waiters and people around them. Yeah, so that also, Yeah, so that also for me, I think that falls under EQ as well. Yeah, so you could look at those things. Yeah, but it's very but it's like sitting for your moral paper in Form 5, where they'll ask you things like, like until you get the person in on the job, they can answer like, oh yes, I would help the old lady cross the road. When in reality, they would have actually, so they'll answer A, but in reality they might have done C, which is to ignore the old lady, right? Yeah, because she smells, maybe she's a bit dirty,
Oh
yeah.
no, poor old lady.
Maybe she's homeless, you don't know. Yeah, so yeah, so it's really hard to say, but I would say that these two are the markers of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and manners, it comes back to manners as well. Yeah, for me, that's how I know as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So how would you give a good impression to the employer, but through text instead of face-to-face?
Ooh, haha, because text can be written, it can be read anyway.
Yes, it can. Sometimes if you put a full stop in the end, you think that other person is very angry, but it's just a neutral conversation.
Yes. It's like, yeah, it's like, don't break up through text or fight through text, right? Don't ever do that in relationships, guys. How would I how would I do that? Well, in my company, we use a lot of emojis. Yeah, so that there is there's no reason to, but first you can use that to disguise also if you're feeling really like about this person, but at least it keeps it civil. Yeah. When you speak to people, if you're upset about something, I would say please don't blame. Please don't go like, oh, yeah, you told me to do this, ma, or something like that, but turn that into a question instead. Yeah, like always turn that into a question, but not the kind of, questions where it's like, but you told me to do, ma, didn't you? Not that kind, but sorry, I just want to double check. I may have made a mistake, but last Monday, didn't you say that, didn't you say that this is the other thing also is you want to declare your intention. Yes, that's the most important thing that I learned about communicating in a team, even verbally and through text. You always want to declare your intention. If you're asking a question to somebody, you can say, hey, I just want some clarity on this. Could you shed some light on this such and such topic? If you're giving feedback, especially when you give feedback, declare your intention, but please ask for permission first. Yeah, because people, like even I fall into that trap. I'll tell people, yeah, no worries, you can give me feedback anytime. But when it comes, it's like, right? It hurts. So when you ask people for permission, you can say, hey, Zara, could I give you some feedback? And then Zara can say, and it gives Zara the power to say yes or no. If she says no, just go on your merry way. But I can guarantee you that Zara, after like a week, I've had that. People come back and go like, hey, you say you want to give me feedback, right? What was it? Right? Because they've had a chance to mull it over, right?
Yes.
That's the first one. And if you want to take it one step further, you go, you declare your intention. Hey, I want to give you feedback because you're really great what you do, and I'm just really afraid that this thing that I want to share with you might actually overshadow all the good that you've done. Or, I want to make sure that you go to the next level. Yeah, it's just this little bit of polishing we need to do, right? So because people, need time to brace themselves for the feedback. So that would be the biggest one, I think, that would help you guys the most.
So thank you for sharing that, but unfortunately that is all the time that we have today in terms of answering questions. So I would like to move on to the closing.
Could I just say thanks for having me here again. This is my third time here, and it's always such an honor to share with you guys our experiences, and I hope you guys took away plenty from it. And if anything, yes, and if anything, feel free to contact me if you have questions. Like fellow entrepreneurs love helping each other for sure. Yeah, so thank you, Zara and Team RYSE. And the fact that you guys like came here on your Friday evening, you know, tells me that, you know, you guys are so dedicated and committed to just growing yourselves. And I think that's so beautiful. And, you know, the RYSE team, as always, like, I really think what you guys do is so amazing and so fabulous. Yeah, to just connect kids to the skills that, you know, really help them thrive when they leave school. So those of you who are here, you.
So thank you so much for your insights, Erica. So this is Erica from Ace Edventure Studios, and for the first 20 minutes before was Michelle and Sharon from Craders Hub, where they were sharing their experiences at today's Tauke Talks, which is again brought to you by RYSE and supported by Citi Foundation. So some recap and takeaways I'd like to mention that Erica has shared is that, and Erica, Michelle, and Sharon has shared, is to never rely on your resumes, because even though you have crafted this perfect resume, it will be reflected on you at the end and when you reveal yourself, because it all matters with how you act and, you know, work with your employers and in the workforce. And another thing that Erica has mentioned a lot is that attitude matters, and this goes for both ways, for the person that's hiring and as well as the person that's being hired, because, you know, in the end, we are all human and we may have different reactions. So always we have to be mindful of each other. So I hope you all feel inspired and motivated to learn these new skills and knowledge from the Taukes sharings today. So here is their socials that you can definitely support them on for both Craders Hub and Ace Edventure Studios. And that if you have enjoyed this session, do sign up for our next Tauke Talks, which is starting an F&B business with Ava and Hanisa, which is coming up on the 16th of June, 8 p.m. on the Zoom webinar. And you can sign up here at bit.ly/home-based food business to register for the next webinar. And currently, RYSE do have some programs that are running, which is RYSE Online 2022, the online course, which is also free, about the basics of entrepreneurship, which is open until October 2022. And by signing up for this course, you can also submit your business pitch in the end and may win some cash, because who knows, your business might be famous in the future. We also have a poll that is starting right now, and do feel free to fill it in. And also our next program that's also ongoing is the Kecil Kecil Chili Padi competition. This is a comic competition where the theme this year is youth employment and how you are actually, you know, standing up for yourself and being brave in the workforce. So this submission is open until the 15th of September at 11:59 p.m. So, and it's also open for Malaysians aged 16 to 28 years old. To find out more information about this competition, do visit bit.ly/Kecil Kecil Chili Padi. Again, you can also win up to 3,000 ringgit. And, you know, we hope to see your submissions soon. Then let's move on to our socials as well. So do support us on Facebook at Tauke Talks and Instagram at Tauke Talks. And if you do want to rewatch this session, and in case you missed out on it, do look up at our YouTube videos at RYSE program, where you can rewatch this in session about hiring experiences. So again, once again, thank you so much everyone for coming, and thank you Erica for joining me tonight. And we hope to see you all next time. All the best for your business, Erica.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I hope you sign up for the programs. Experience. Get your experience.
And who knows, you also might win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Such a great platform there. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, everybody. Don't forget, there is still a poll that is going on. So be sure to submit that before you leave. But if you have, thank you for your time and good night. Bye.
Audio Jungle.